think that then I saw an article, actually, I saw an article in our local newspaper here, and it was about this immigrant couple who made $500,000 in 1 year just renting properties. So I was like, well, I can do that. So that's what I started doing. I just started buying houses. Me and my husband had started buying houses. Then I was like, one day we was watching the A&E network, and the show was on Flip This House. And they started flipping houses. I was like, wait a minute, we could flip some of these houses we have. We could make a decent amount of money. And then my husband was like, no, find some other properties and flip those and still keep our income. So I was like, okay, cool. So I started finding all these houses, and we just started flipping and buying. We buy and hold, we flip. And then now, probably like 4 or 5 years ago, my cousin Danielle, she lives in Atlanta. We were at my aunt's funeral in Florida, and she was like, you still doing real estate? And I said, yeah. She said, well, you should do wholesale. What? Wholesaling. I was like, what is that? Never heard of it. In all these years of real estate, I had never heard of it. I was like, what do you mean? She started telling me, she started teaching me how to wholesale. And I was like, oh, this is too easy. Let me just go on about my business, forget that. So I just started flipping. And then people in my office were like, where are you getting all these properties from? So I started teaching what I was learning. And then next thing you know, I got courses online, and I'm here with y'all.
Mercy. I love how you just kind of really simplified that whole voyage for us in really a soundbite, but you left a lot on the bone. So let me unpack that for y'all, okay? So initially, YouTube and Facebook and Pear Deck and every place else we're streaming, she is in a 9 to 5 like we all are, had a blessing and a friend. So your friend basically, gave you the impetus, and it sounds like you have a very supportive spouse as well. And so you guys start buying, holding, flipping. Now I'm not sure what came first, the flipping or the buy and holds.
We started out buying and holding.
Okay.
Because we had a ton of properties, and we were just buying and hold. And then we
now what strategy were you guys using? Were you using the BRRRR strategy?
Absolutely not. No.
So back then, what was the strategy?
The BRRRR strategy. Let me explain. I don't begrudge anybody who uses that strategy, but if you listen to the definition of the BRRRR strategy, you have debt. I don't want to live in debt, so I don't use that strategy.
Okay, so I
use it if I have to, but that's not a strategy I use often.
So what were you guys doing back then?
Oh, well, the type of job I had back then, I was working in collections. And at the time, I was working in government collections. So I was that person that y'all all hate, the student loan. I was working in student loan collections. And I did that for like 15 years.
Oh my goodness.
So but look, I was good at it. I couldn't complain about the money. There were months where I would bring home $10,000, $15,000 bonus check. So I would take that bonus check, you think about it, you string a couple months together, boom, buy a house. So we were buying houses in cash and renovating them in cash because we had that cash. And then I also became my own bank because being at the collection agency all that time, I had a nice little nest egg in my 401k. So I would borrow from the 401k. And when we started flipping houses, I would pay my money back to my 401k. We needed money again, I go back and borrow it again. I became my own bank. So all the interest that I paid back was paying back to myself.
Now, could you break that down? Because I know there's some investors that are always looking at different strategies where if they haven't broken in, it gives them a way of jumping into the game without the hard money lenders. So could you break into that?
Okay, so when I say be your own bank, there's three ways that you can do this that are not as common as people think. First of all, if you're punching someone else's clock and you have a 401k, you are able to borrow, not withdraw, but borrow money from that 401k. And then they'll tell you how much you're eligible to borrow based on how much you put in, or how much they, it's either how much you put in and how much they matched and you're vested in. So you're able to borrow that money. When you borrow the money from the 401k, what happens is you get, you have to, it's a loan, so you have to pay interest back. But the money you borrowed is yours, so the money you're paying back is yours. So the interest is also yours. So you are basically paying interest back to yourself. And you don't even have to make the payments per se, because the payments are going to come out of your paycheck. So a lot of people's like, oh, but that's for when I get older. Okay, if the stock market crashes, it's not going to be there. So you might want to just use it a little bit and then put it back. Use a little bit more, put it back. And then on the outside of your 401k, you're flipping houses and stashing that and stacking that money too. And if you're smart, you're putting that money into one of two things: a Roth IRA or a self-directed IRA. Either way, you can purchase homes. With a self-directed IRA, you can purchase a home and you can purchase investment property. And guess what? You're paying the interest back to yourself, just like you did with the 401k. And then there's another trick that I learned from a guy named Jake. Jake Taylor Jacobs is his name on Instagram, if anybody wants to follow him. He's known as Mr. Be the Bank. And he does everything through his insurance policy. And he borrows the money from his insurance policy up to whatever he can borrow. And then he does whatever he does with it. And then he becomes his own bank. You can flip houses with that money. So that's how you be your own bank.
Pretty dope, pretty dope. I'm actually looking into the insurance policy aspect of it right now as we speak, because another gentleman that we had on the podcast, Mr. Dana Turnquest, was sharing this idea of being your own bank through a private reserve account. But I think there's many different names. But excellent. Let me kick it to my little brother, Ambrose.
Hey, how you doing once again?
Hey.
Thanks for being on our show. So for my
Thank you
question,
for having me. I
right?
appreciate you.
That's what's up. For a lot of people that's watching right now are wholesalers who really just get into the game. And I know some of them really wonder, how are you acquiring properties? How are you getting these low discounted properties?
Okay, so back when I started, I was getting properties from the HUD list. The HUD list is foreclosures. That's when I had first started buying and holding, fixing and flipping. So as far as wholesaling, to acquire a property to wholesale, I'm telling you, I believe in this. I don't believe in spending money unless you have money. So I drive for dollars, but there's a way that you have to drive for dollars. You have to plan it out. You have to know what neighborhood you're going to go to, what you're looking for, how long you plan to be out, what's the goal for today. So when I go out and I pick a neighborhood, I say, okay, I'm going to be in this neighborhood maybe an hour or two. And I plan it. If I plan it right, I should be able to get about 50 properties. And I literally, because we all came from the University of Broke, Five Broke, and I would literally just write down all the addresses. Then I would go home and skip trace them. Then start making phone calls. My background in collections allows me to know how to skip trace. But I'm telling you, if you do it right, you could do it the right way. I use truepeoplesearch.com. People's like, oh, that doesn't work. It's because you're not using it right. If you say truepeoplesearch.com doesn't work, you're not using it right. 9 times out of 10, I guarantee what they're doing. They're taking the property address that they're looking to wholesale and searching it. No, take the owner's address, the owner's name and where his tax bill goes, and then you'll find the owner's phone number. Do it on a reverse search through the address. Then
Definitely. So
I build it, but I also I do wholesaling in reverse. I don't look for properties first. I look for my buyers first. And then my buyers tell me what they want, and then I go find it. So then it's an easy transition. And I don't have to negotiate on my price because I already know how much they're going to pay for it. That's what we do.
see,
Easy.
listen, guys, honestly, and
Smart.
we speak highly of that as well.
Unpack
We
that,
speak highly of that as
Ambrose.
well. You know,
Please unpack
Yeah,
that
that's
for
what I'm
our
trying to
viewers.
do. We speak highly of that as well. You know, get a buyer. Get your buyers ready. It's like a sniper. Get your buyers ready. So whenever you have a property, you won't have to go and look for buyers again. That's one of the easiest things you could
Absolutely.
ever do. Get your
You should
buyers
have a
ready.
whole
You know,
list. You should have a list of buyers on the ready. Because what we do is, I
right.
kid you not, my trusty handy dandy iPhone 10, because I'm not fancy. I don't need an 11 or a 12. I have an iPhone 10 and I created a share folder. Most of my investors have iPhones. So I create the share folder and invite them to the folder. So I don't have to send it. I don't have to email it. I put all the information. This is the address. This is how much I want for it. If it's tenant occupied, I put everything in there. I also put it on Marketplace. I put it on Craigslist, and I put it all over my Facebook and Instagram pages. A lot of people, they don't understand. You don't talk about real estate. Even if you don't have a property for sale, you should have something about real estate on your pages, on your social media pages, so people know what you do.
Right.
It's to a point now where I had 3 phone calls this week of people wanting me to sell their houses. I'm just sitting here minding my business. And now people call me, because you have to also be seen as the source. And people were like, oh, she get rid of houses really quick. Yeah, I do. Because I already have a buyer for your house. I just need your house. Just give me a house and I'll sell it.
Definitely, most definitely. So
Buyer's
you was
list
talking
is
about
key.
you was talking about the driving for a dollar, right? What tools are you using for that?
Well,
I
hold
know
on,
we know.
Ambrose. Hold on. Before we go to driving for
This
dollars, I need to unpack. That was some gangster stuff. Listen,
Right.
she created a folder with all of her active deals, and she shares that folder with her. We call them sticky buyers. But she created a folder for her buyers, so her buyers get her deals real time. They don't have to wait for deal text. They don't have to wait for emails. That's gangster.
Right.
Because Ambrose, as you know, we do that for the triad. We've never thought about doing that
You
for
know,
our buyers.
that's
I
something
do
new
it.
right
I
there.
do. As soon as I do it, let me see. Let me see if I can be able to show it to you. My
Oh
last one I
wow.
just did. Let's see. Da, 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 da. Let's see. Oh, share right here. So can you guys see that?
Oh wow, yep. Uh-huh.
Okay, so I put all the pictures. I put everything in it. If you like click up at the top, not the other side. Let's see. I'm trying to see if it'll let me show you the how I send the description over.
So do you use like a link for all of your photos?
I do that if I have to use Google.
Mhm.
I do that in my Google, but I don't do it. Let's see, where are the details? That's what usually get me going. I can usually get it. But anyway, when you pull it up, you like right here. Where am I?
Mhm.
Right here, you have the address and all the details of the property. Like if they're paying, if there's tenant occupied, if they're paying rent, I'll put it in. Currently getting $1,300 a month. Currently getting $1,500 a month. Tenants want to stay. They've been there a long time. And then as soon as the first person hits me back with a close date, that's when with a visual, they say, oh, I want to see it on this date at that time. Guess what? That's the open house date. That's the time everybody comes. Because especially if it's tenant occupied, you want to get everybody in and out at the same time. And you just go ahead and do it. I call this lady, I call another place you can get your, some motivated sellers, Fizbos on Zillow. I called a Fizbos on Zillow. I called one Fizbo. She had 15 properties she wanted to sell. So you got most of the people for sale by owner on Zillow, they have multiple properties.
Respect.
And a lot of people not doing that.
Mm.
I don't even do it no more. I get Brianna to do it. Brianna's my assistant. She'll do it and send it to me. But we do our market. We have like 4 or 5 other markets that we wholesale into. Because I have boots on wherever I have boots on the ground. I do Detroit, Memphis, Tampa, Atlanta, Buffalo.
Man.
I have people in Rochester. And where else were we? Baltimore.
You'll be getting some of our Atlanta deals in the next 72 hours.
Yeah.
Listen, if you have deals in Atlanta, I'm all about the JV.
Oh, we got you.
You have deals in it. I have buyers. Listen, my buyers are like dry. They're like, waiting. We need deals in Atlanta. We don't have any.
Say less. We got you.
All right. I'm telling you, come through, because I'm telling you, it's just my buyers. It's so funny because my buyers in Atlanta, they all lived in Buffalo at one time. Now they all moved to Atlanta, but they come to me here in Buffalo to find them properties in Atlanta.
So that's incredible. So speaking of buyers, right?
Mm-hmm.
For wholesalers who's create like the buyers list as well, right? What should they have in their arsenal to present to the buyers? If you can give them a little details of that.
If you want to present, when you tell a buyer, I always tell a buyer this. First of all, verify it's a good buyer. That's what you need to do before you go just out here trying to build a buyer's list. I definitely think you should have your buyers vetted, so that you're not doing JVs and daisy chains and you don't even know you're doing a JV or a daisy chain. So I always ask for proof of funds. Send me the money so I know I got it. Let me see your bank statement. You say you're paying cash, show me the cash. I need an EMD. Even if I don't pay an EMD to the seller, I still make my buyer give me one. Because it's not refundable and I don't work for free. So if they screw up and the deal don't go through, I still get paid.
Right.
Absolutely. We also do, what else? We was doing it for a while. We was doing bank statements, pre-approvals, EMDs. We ask certain questions. Like if I'm getting a buyer on the phone, especially with somebody I don't work with, I ask them, how long have you been investing? How many properties you currently have? What are you holding? What did you gross last year? What's your cap rates that you're looking for? If you're looking for rental properties, what's your cap rates? As soon as you start talking industry terms, a lot of these wholesalers don't know that. So that eliminates all my JV right there. I don't get into no JV deal that I don't want to be in. I'm not messing around. Oh, and I make sure that you got to know your numbers. You have to know your numbers. But I don't tell one thing I don't do is I don't give construction budgets anymore. I used to tell my buyers, oh, well, it's an ARV of this, and a construction budget, you're going to spend about maybe $50,000, because I can give you the reason why I don't do it anymore. People are like, well, how do you know what to offer? I just go by the as is value and the current rates in the market in the area and just offer something. But the reason why I don't do it anymore is this. Every investor worth their salt has their own construction team.
That's right. Absolutely.
So what they're going to pay, well, I might tell them it's going to cost them $50,000, and the contractor might say, dude, that's only going to cost you about $25,000. She lying, da 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 da. I don't have time to argue with that. There you go. If my contractor is doing it, and that's what I usually say if they ask me, well, give me a ballpark. Well, if my contractor is doing it, you're going to pay this. But if your contractor is doing it, I don't know, you're going to pay whatever they tell you they're going to pay.
Amen. Amen.
And then I don't give comps either. I don't do an ARV. I just tell them average sale price in the area is.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Average sale price. Because you know what it is. As wholesalers, what we going to do? We're going to find the 4 highest comps in the neighborhood, and then their house don't sell for that amount, and then they mad. Or they can't find the same comps. Miraculous. I don't know how. We all sitting here looking at the same numbers, but I just don't do it.
Wow.
They ask me anyway, so
yeah.
What's the ARV? Well, I didn't think you wanted me to give you the ARV. Well, your numbers are usually right. Just give me the ARV.
All right. So for our followers, there's always, okay, there's a lot there. And I want to make sure you guys heard it. So very first thing is this. All right. You want to be able to segment out who's really a buyer and who's a wholesaler.
Absolutely.
Now, so our business model, we do a lot of micro flipping. So we don't mind having, wholesaler relationships, but we want to be able to vet out who's the end buyer and who's, in the chain, if you will. So
Right.
she basically had a set of very targeted questions that if you're just a wholesaler, you have no idea.
And you're not going to be able to provide it to me.
You're not going to be able to provide that. So you really need to tighten up your game. So if you got a list of 300 people, okay, don't think you have 300 cash buyers. You really may only have 20 cash buyers, but you need to know that. You need to know that. Okay. And the other thing that was just shared is, a lot of us kill ourselves to come up with rehab numbers and comps when there's really, no reason to do that, because every investor, if they're a real investor, their numbers are going to be slightly different from the numbers that you would calculate because they got their own crew.
Right.
Key information here, young people. Key information.
There was a guy just last week and we all laughed about it. I felt so bad for him, but it was ridiculous. So he was in one of the Atlanta investor groups on Facebook. And he had this house. He said he was asking $118,000 for the house. When I tell you this house, if the wind blew too hard, the whole house would have fell over. Believe it. So, and then there were no comps in that area. I'm like, where are you getting this from? And then he was like, well, the ARV is this. Where are you getting this from? There are no comps in that area. It's in a wooded area. It wasn't even if it was considered, it wasn't even considered the city of Atlanta, but he kept saying it was in the city. I was like, this is outside the city, just so you know. And it's on the west side. The west side of Atlanta is cheaper than the east side of Atlanta. And people don't know that. The south side is cheaper than the north side. So if you're doing southwest, south, northwest, southwest, northwest is pretty good. You get Marietta, Kennesaw. But if you're going south, can't you tell I spent a lot of time in Atlanta? So if you're going
and that's because of newer builds versus older builds. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And even then, but a lot of the west side of Atlanta is still the original houses. They're just not, the investors are just starting to creep over that way. When like maybe 10 years ago, when I was there, that side was coming up, but then it got hit by the foreclosures. So you lost a lot. So people don't understand it. It's crazy. But now they're starting to tap back into that market because the east side and north side is gone. So the south and the west are next. So if you're looking for an area to start scouting in, there you go.
Amen. Amen. Say less. Say less. Go ahead.
Just saying.
Go ahead, Rose.
Got my peoples over there.
Right. Listen, we have so many deals in Atlanta for you. It makes no sense.
Let me know. I'm telling you.
That's
as long as the deal makes sense, we can get it done.
Right. Sounds good. And I know Earl's gonna send it to you. So for my next question, and I always ask this question, right? Because I'm big on waking up in the morning and planning out your day, obviously, before you go to bed and before you when you wake up in the morning. So what is your days like when you first woke up in the morning to when you go to bed?
Okay.
You have a set schedule.
I'll show you. Yep. My Grant Cardone 10X planner that I got. And I'm in the process of creating a planner for wholesalers and real estate agents. So let's see, on any given day, because I wake up at 5 a.m. That's number one. And don't you just get up. When you get up at 5 o'clock, the first thing you should do, when your alarm clock goes off, get up. Even if you don't go straight to work or do anything, I tell everybody, get up. Oh, okay, that's something stupid. I was looking like, what is this acknowledgement coming across my screen? First of all, I get up at 5, I pray, I answer emails, I go through my social media messages because I get a lot of messages overnight for some reason, because I guess everybody be up, because I turn my phone off at 10 o'clock at night. It goes on do not disturb, because there is not a problem in this world that can't be solved when I get up at 5 a.m. So I get up at 5, I pray, I do prayer, I do gratitude, I do meditation, I look over my schedule, I check my emails, return my emails. No, and I'm crazy as it sounds, I check all my bank accounts and all my stocks, even though I know nothing happened to them overnight. Still check to see what I need to do. Then I look at my schedule because I've usually written it down the night before. What do I have to do? By 5:30, because all of that only takes about 30 minutes. By 5:30, I'm either going to go to the gym or I'm going to go to my basement. And because of COVID, I'm going to my basement. I'm getting on my treadmill. I'm going to walk or run. And more likely it's going to be a walk, because I'm not running really unless somebody chases me. And I'll be on my treadmill for 3 miles. Then while I'm down there, I'll put in a load of laundry, come back up. It's about 6:30 at that point, maybe closer to 7. I might check my emails again because some of the other people starting to get up. I look at the content that I'm supposed to post on my social media for that day. And I might do my first post of the day, something good morning, something inspirational, especially if it's in my group, because I have a group of wholesalers that I connect with that, well, they're all paying me to coach them in the wholesaling process. And I send out messages to them through our Facebook group. I check to see if any of them contacted me overnight, and we reach out one by one. I have my education on here because I still learn. I have my coach, because I have a business coach. She has me in this 12-week program that's been taking me 8 months to do already. So I go through that program and I'll listen to some of the things, I'll take notes, and I'll try and implement anything that I can implement. Then the day gets started. It depends. Do I have to show houses? Do I have to look? Am I viewing houses to purchase? Am I showing houses for sale? I'm a licensed broker here in Buffalo. So do I reach out to my clients that I currently have contracts with, give them an update on their properties? I do property management, so I might be property management. I get in touch with my team here. What do we got going on? Did anybody find any deals they want me to look at? Whatever. It just depends on whatever is on the schedule for that day. I have different days for different stuff. And the reason why you have to do it, especially doing what I do, like Monday is real estate update day, because anything that came in over the weekend, I need to know inspections, appraisals, anything that came in over the weekend. So on the weekends, I send out an update to every single person that has a transaction, that has a contract right now. Then I contact all the attorneys involved in those contracts, or the title companies involved in those contracts. And you're probably thinking like, well, why are you doing all this? Because right now I don't have an assistant. I have Brianna, she's one of my interns, but she works her other job. So she comes in, she finds properties for me. That's her job. But because of COVID, we can't be in our office the way we're supposed to be, because, there's a limit on how many people can be in the office. So I'm doing everything until March 1st, when everybody go back to the office and they can get all their daggone back. They get all their duties and responsibilities back. But it's tough. It's a lot to do. My days are not boring. It's something different every day. Work orders from tenants, because, my kid flushed their toy down the toilet. Now the toilet's backed up. All types of stuff.
Right.
But it's fun. And then I'm homeschooling my son. I'm also homeschooling, so it's a lot.
Oh man. Yeah, you do have a busy schedule. Right. I don't know how you do it, honestly.
I take a nap at 4:30.
How that?
Because by the time I get up at 5 o'clock, by the time 4:30, by the time 2 o'clock come, I'm sleepy. But it depends on if I have, like on Mondays, I have my group accountability meeting. We have a Zoom call with the whole group. It's like 40, it's like 35, 40 people in that group. And then whoever come in to do their accountability meetings, we come in. That's every Monday at 7:00. So I have to take a nap around 4:30. So I don't fall asleep and look all tired and, you know, while I'm talking to them. On Wednesday nights, I do the Wednesday wind down on Instagram. We talking about real estate, drinking wine and talking about real estate. And then I go live, I'll probably go live on Instagram probably about 5 out of 7 days a week.
Now you do Clubhouse too, because I had the
Yeah.
privilege of jumping into one of your talks.
Yeah, I haven't been in there. You know what? They kicked my boy off. He back now though. They let him back on. They had kicked him off for like a week, so I wasn't really on there. Now I'm back. I'll be on there now. I just be sitting in the audience paying attention. I don't be on nobody's platform because they ping me in these rooms and I'm like, I don't want to talk about this today. I tell everybody, do not ping me in a room on Clubhouse if it's not about making money. I don't want to be in a room with, why do Black men date white women? I could care less because I'm not trying to date none of them. So I don't care why they date who they date. And then it's got this other room. They had a bunch of people in the room just moaning. I'm like, what the hell is this? So then if it's not about making money, talking about real estate, educating me on real estate or educating me on stock options, I don't want to be in the room.
Wow.
And I try to tell people that, but they don't pay me no attention. I can't do it.
They don't give you no attention. That's crazy.
So
I'll try to unpack that a little bit. I know Earl want to say something. So, you know, like getting up in the morning at 5 o'clock, the first person to get up usually have the most to do before everybody else. And I'm a big fan of that. You know, I try getting up in the morning as well. Sometimes it's hard, you know, sometimes I don't want to do it, but it's definitely hard. But if you really want to be successful in this game, you have to really, really understand that getting up in the morning and try to plan out your days and making sure everything that you plan out gets accomplished. That's the number one thing you can do.
And then the things that you don't do, I always say, don't put any more than 10 items on your to-do list. No more than 10. A lot of people tell you no more than 6, but I say no more than 10 items on your to-do list because any more than 10, you're not going to get them done. And then anything out of that 10 that you don't get done, they go to the top of the list the next day. And then you add just those enough to fill in the 10. You know what I mean? So you don't have that. And goal set. Goal setting is huge. Because what's the point of having all this stuff to do if you don't know what the goal is?
Right. Amen. Real good stuff. Real good stuff.
I just learned a new thing today. Definitely put the thing that you didn't do yesterday, put on the top.
Right at the top. So because if you didn't have it on your list, it wouldn't. If it's on your list because it's important, and you need to get it done. So you put it at the top. Whatever you don't finish, you put it at the top of the list tomorrow. So say it's 2 things you didn't finish yesterday. Those 2 things go at the top, and then you fill it in with 8 more things. And then you just keep going, and that way you keep yourself going. Like when I get off this live, I got to write up a contract. We're getting ready to invest. I think we might invest. We might buy these 15 properties from this lady. I don't know. Depends. Right. Depends. No, we buy them. We're flipping them all. We're not keeping none of them. They all getting flipped.
Okay. I love it. Amber, should I jump in?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. So my next question, just so you guys know, we got about 30 people in our live right now. And so if you have any questions, any comments, throw something right in the comment section. We'll try to answer them live, but we may not get to them. I'll be honest with you, because I got about 30 questions myself. And I know I'm not going to get through all of them in this short period of time. But if you could speak to really quickly, you've invested into your real estate education. So it hasn't been all informal or YouTube university. If you could take us down, if you could take us down that track, because like for those that are following us, you know, Ambrose, Kivo and I, you know, we initially were just, trying to absorb what we learned, we hit a plateau. We decided that we needed more education. We got into micro flipping with Jamil. We're having some success, but now I'm actually considering hiring a coach too. And Delisa's knows she's on, my short list of folks I'm interviewing because I'm trying to get to the next level. So if you could just speak about your education.
Okay, first and foremost, besides, the $50,000+ I spent on a bachelor's degree that I didn't even need, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not anti-college degree because I think education is very important. And I do use what I learned with that bachelor's degree, but it's nothing I wouldn't have picked up along the way. Just saying. I also use a lot of the education that, believe it or not, real estate and collections run simultaneous for me. So a lot of the things that I learned, working in my collections career, I now use in real estate. And I'll give you an example. I learned how to skip trace being a collector. I now skip trace property owners in real estate. I learned how to do projections and numbers and how to be able to project what numbers my team would hit for the month and how to get them on track and what I needed to produce every day. I now use that same strategy in my real estate business. Every day I got to make this many phone calls. I got to talk to this many people. I need to sign this many houses. I need to close this many deals. I need to make this much money. I do the same thing in real estate. And even with the organization and the charts and this, because the organization and spreadsheet and trackers that we use, how I learned to create all that stuff in my collections career, I've created all that stuff for my team on my real estate side. Even the getting on the phone in the first phone call is what I learned from collections. Then I have my real estate license. I did get a real estate license. Let me explain to y'all this, because I know one of the questions that somebody's going to ask. I guarantee you somebody wants to ask this question. And if you do, please don't, because I'm going to answer it for you right now. Do I need my real estate license, or should I get my real estate license to invest in real estate? No, you don't need it. You actually hinder your progress a little bit by having a license. Because everybody has, every time, and I ask you this, in New York State, you have to be a licensed real estate agent in order to be a property manager. Do you want to do property management for anybody else besides your own properties? If the answer is no, you don't need a real estate license. Do you want to sell real estate to other people or for other people? The answer is no, you don't need a license. Don't bother. Is it okay for you to go and get the education? Sure, go to the class and take the education if you want. Now that part I don't have a problem with. My class was $499 to get my real estate license. And then I spent, I think, another $300 to get my broker license training. But the stuff that you're going to need as an investor, they don't teach you in real estate school. You don't get that. You don't learn that. You learn that from bumping your head up against the wall a couple of times. You learn that from doing what you say. Find you a coach. That's the best education I can give everybody. When I was coming up, there weren't a lot of real estate coaches. I learned by trial and error and bumping my head a couple of times. Now there's all these different gurus and coaches, and be careful who you get your education from. Because a lot of these people, they're not doing what they're trying to teach you. They just know how to do it, so they're teaching you. Get you a coach. If you're going to wholesale and you want to start out as wholesaling, then get you a coach that is currently wholesaling so they can walk you through this process and tell you what to do and how to do it. No book is going to tell you. They're going to tell you the basics, but they can't give you, well, what if the person is deceased? I had a person die in the middle of our transaction. Now, what does the law say? You know what I mean? That's not something a book is going to teach you, because the book is not going to think of, oh, what happens if this person dies? Nobody's thinking about that. I had another person who he said he was the owner of the property, and it wasn't even his property, it was his dad's property, but they have the same name. And the dad passed away. So legally it's his, but legally it's not yours because this isn't your name. Your name is Junior, his name is Senior. But on the deed, it just said John Doe. It didn't have a junior or a senior. So he literally could have sold this property. If nobody else was paying attention, they would have got themselves screwed up if somebody else, sister or brother, would have came up and said, that's my house.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So it's things like that that you're not going to learn. You're not going to learn that in that real estate class. Real estate teaches you fair housing. Real estate teaches you the laws. That's all real estate teaches you. It doesn't teach you the technique. It doesn't teach you the formation. It doesn't teach you the organization. It don't even teach you how to do comps, really. I don't teach you none. It teaches you the laws.
That's amazing. I mean, and so I got to unpack that because, here I am thinking about my, one of my two sons going to, because I'm not going through the real estate examination because I'm thinking it's more necessary than it is. Here's
the thing. You do need a real estate agent on your team.
Okay.
Now, it may not be you per se. It could be your son. So yeah, you might, if your son wants to do the real estate business, and that's what he wants to get. Everybody has their position to play. Everybody has their niche. I do property management, so I had to have a license. I also wanted a brokerage because as an investor, there wasn't a brokerage around that handled the type of transactions that I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm out here and I'm like, oh, well, I wonder where I can get finance because, I'm buying these houses under my business. Where can I get finance? Banks don't want to finance my fix and flip because they don't make any money on it. So they don't want to finance that. So I had nobody ever told me about hard money loans. You know what I'm saying? I just learned about that when I really got into flipping. But my real estate agent, now my investors, the reason why my investors come to me is because I'm a one-stop shop. If they need a contractor, I can find them a contractor. They need insurance, I can find them insurance because I've made connections with people that handle these types of transactions. And that's the thing. A lot of people are here, I can get you funded. No, you can't. You can't. Nope. So my brokerage caters to the investor. Whereas my investors come in, they know, Delisa, I need about $50,000 for this loan. They know I can go in my database and be like, hey, I got a guy who's looking for an investor for $50,000 on this loan. You'll get back XYZ dollar amount. Is there something you might be interested in? Yep. And I put the money and I put the deal together for them. I put that deal together for them. And then, or if I don't have a private lender that's willing to invest that money, then what I do is I connect them with one of my hard money lenders. Here you go. I already have their information. So I have everything they need. I can just send it to a lender and say, hey, this guy, and all I need from my client, send me 3 months worth of bank statements. Package it up and send it over to the lender. It's simple. That's the way I've designed my brokerage here and the one I'm going to open in Atlanta. We cater to investors. And guess what happens? I want wholesalers on my team. I want investor, you know what I'm saying? I want a wholesaler on my team because a wholesaler is going to find me that property that I don't want to list as an agent. They're going to find me that property and we're going to flip it to my client. And then my client's going to get me to sell it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why the wholesaler and the real estate agent need to work together.
Wow.
That's crazy. I tell I have so many real estate agents here in Buffalo. Oh, these wholesalers are taking our properties. Really? You were going to call the person of the you was going to call the owner of that abandoned building that's been sitting across the street from me for 20 years. And you were going to tell them you want to list that house. Get the heck out of here talking stupid. Nobody taking your property. If anything, you could have it once it's finished. And then you get that put on your numbers instead of this $10,000 house. Because I'm not paying no more than $10,000 for the house. How do you think you're getting that? Right. These real estate agents are, they drive me nuts.
My goodness.
I say they because I'm not one of them. They drive me nuts. I'm an investor.
Listen, I'm not unpacking nothing. Y'all got to catch the rewind. But this system is dropping knowledge. Dropping knowledge. If you're not trying to take notes, I don't know what you're doing tuning into this podcast, because this system is keeping it 100% real.
I mean, it's just, we have to. I mean, come on now. Think about it this way. If, as a real estate agent, if I'm looking for a real estate agent to sell my $500,000 house, and I'm not familiar with the agents in the area, so I start looking at their numbers. I'm not going to look at a person who's averaging 150,000. I'm going to look at the person who's averaging 500,000 plus. I'm going to look at the person who's selling and their asking price, and they're getting over their asking price for their homes because of the way they market their properties and all sorts of stuff. So your real estate agent don't want that $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 house on a record, because that's going to bring your average down. So hello, give it to the wholesaler. And when your person, and we make the agreement, when he finished flipping it, I give it back to you, you can sell it.
That's called synergy, wholesalers. You got to get out there and hustle and communicate to these real estate agents how you can work synergistically. Man, massive.
I had a real estate agent get mad at me because I have a minimum assignment fee. I don't care what deal it is. I tried it. My minimum fee is $5,000. That's it. And everybody's like, oh, $5,000. I'm trying to make 20. I'm trying to make 60. You go right ahead. It's going to take you longer to make 60 than it will for me to close 12 deals at 5,000 to make that same 60. It's going to take you longer to close that deal. So go ahead and do that if that's what you want to do. I might accept less. I might get a whole heck of a lot more some deals, but I tell my investors, no, my minimum fee is $5,000. You paying me $5,000 to find you this house. They know up front. They don't care what I'm making. As long as the numbers work for them, they don't care what I make. I can make 100,000 as long as that deal worked for him or her. But the thing is, people don't understand that. They always like, oh, well, I don't want to tell I tell my clients all the time, I make 5,000 and I paid this for the house. And you paying this. So I said I make 5,000.
Transparency though. They will respect you when you're transparent. Because they don't want to feel like a game is being run. And now, but an investor faster than anything. Yep. And the reason, and because I'm so upfront, I'm so transparent with them, they don't even ask to see the original contract no more. I give them the assignment contract. The one attorney called me and was like, oh, I need to see the original contract. My investor called him back. I was like, man, if you quit asking her for that, I don't need that. I did the numbers. The numbers work no matter what. I'm paying them. I don't need that. Because I put on my assignment contract any stipulations that's in the original contract. I put it right on my assignment contract. He was like, this is all I'm signing for. I'm not signing saying I'm doing anything else on that original contract. She put it right here. He was like, I don't need that. I can call one of my clients right now and say, hey, I got a 2-family. Hey, you was looking for a 2-family on the west side. Yeah, I got a 2-family on the west side. It's 180. After repair value is 350. He'd be like, all right, send me the contract. He don't even need to see it. Mm-hmm. He just want to send me the address and send me the contract. Okay. And that's how you have to be. If you're honest with your people, you build a relationship. And I mean, some of my investors I've never even seen. Mm-hmm. Because we working electronically through everything. Right. No, I'm literally, because we're talking about transparency. I'm literally looking at a text message from one of our buyers right now, asking me to wire them over the instructions for the earnest deposit money. And we told them specifically what we were making. And we let them know, hey, if you need to see the redacted AB, we got you. But it's like, no, you guys seem to stand up. We talked a million times. Yeah, just send me an assignment.
Yeah, just send me the assignment fee.
Yep.
Because they trust you. You've never given them a bad deal.
Right.
I got my one client in Atlanta who buys properties here to rent out, and I manage his properties for him. he called me, we talked when 3 days ago. He was like, what you got? What you holding on to you ain't told me about? I was like, I'm not holding on to nothing because you can't cold call in New York State right now. That's been bothering me. I can't cold call, so I got to run ads and, do all
Now,
that stuff.
speak to that, even though that's not what we do from an outreach standpoint, but break it down so people understand.
Well, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, your good old boy in Albany, Cuomo, he has put a freeze on, there's a law, you can't cold call or telemarket during a state of emergency. And for the real estate industry, it's a state of emergency, you can't cold call. So I don't do it, I get Brianna to do it because she don't have a license. So if Brianna decides she want to make phone calls and start calling people, that's Brianna. That's what she do.
Right.
But for the most part, we just send letters and text messages. I don't do mass text. I send one at a time because I need them personalized so that I can keep them arranged.
Right.
But I'm just, we can't cold call because of the pandemic. It's considered a violation of the FCC.
All right. Now that's as
FCC
a brokerage.
laws kill them.
That's as a brokerage, but not as a wholesaler.
Wholesalers aren't supposed to do it either, but what I don't know don't hurt you.
Oh, sounds good. Sounds good. Little
That's
brother,
what y'all doing over there. I don't know.
you got the next question, little brother.
So my next question is, how can people get in touch with you? How can they reach you?
They can reach me on all of my social media pages. Okay. If you're on Instagram, I am at tag .716. If you want to follow me on Instagram. On Clubhouse, at tag 716, no dot. On Facebook, Trinity Alliance Group of Buffalo. And the YouTube channel is at tag 716. And on Twitter, we're at tag 716_ and then the word team. I'm around. I'm all over the place. I love social media. If not for social media, I wouldn't have half the business that I have right now if it wasn't for social media. It's just you have to do it right. Definitely have to do your social media the right way.
All right.
Yeah, I mean that's all. That's
y'all
all
excited? I'm excited. That's all you have right now. So what do you do?
So I'm responsible for counting the properties, and
Okay,
mostly
nice.
in Atlanta. So I count properties. So every property.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you.
I'll be.
You're the one that's running. So if the numbers are wrong, you the one I should come see.
Yes.
You sure?
I'm just saying,
For sure.
That's what I was saying. The guy the other day, like I said, he had a house. It was so crazy. Everybody on there was like, see, this is why I don't like dealing with wholesalers. They don't know how to do the numbers, blah, 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 blah. This house, I offered him $30,000 for it. That's about how much it was worth. You could literally stand in one room and see outside, and not just like a crack of outside. The whole wall was missing. You can see outside. And he talking about, and then he said, you need like $30,000 worth of work. I said, you do realize this house has foundation issues. That's $30,000 by itself. Then you need windows and doors. You need floors. You need walls. He's like, fine, give me $45,000 and you can have it. So you went from 118 down to 45. And then we started doing some research on the property. We found out the owner had it listed for sale by owner on Zillow for 150. I was like, y'all playing games over there. I'm out. I tap out.
Right. Yeah.
That's too much. That's too much brain cells.
So how are you determining your ARV? How are you determining your ARV? Like what numbers are you using? How are you determining your ARV? Like the 75% rule?
Apples to apples.
Right.
Apples to apples. Apples to apples mean the date range of when the house was built, the number of bedrooms, the number of bathrooms, square footage within 300 lower or higher. That's apples to apples. And then I take the 4 highest out of those and average them together. That'll be the average sold has to be sold within a 1 mile radius.
Okay.
Mhm.
You use 300, we use 200. So it's a little bit different. We use 200 square foot instead of 300 because you use 300.
Well, I get that 300 because that's what they teach us in real estate school for a good count.
Oh, okay.
300 before 300. Yep, it's 300 within 300 above or below. So you can't do a 1,500 square foot house to a 2,500 square foot house. This is not gonna work.
Thank you very much, Earl. You on mute?
I am.
And
on
no, I
mute.
don't use that 75% rule. We actually use 60. Just
Oh
in
yeah,
case.
so when you were breaking down what part of Atlanta determines what the numbers look like, we were right on that,
Mhm.
because obviously the newer parts of Atlanta, boom, we can talk 70, but everybody else, Ambrose, what numbers are we looking at?
55 to 65.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay, all right,
That's exactly right.
yep. And for Buffalo, we're right
Ambrose, what
about
we doing?
we're right about the same
I have
numbers
it.
as well for Buffalo, right, Ambrose?
55.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll use 60 in Buffalo because these people around here don't know their numbers.
No. Same
So
as Rochester. We look at Rochester, Buffalo.
Yeah, but see, I have a lender in Buffalo who will refinance you with no seasoning period. So I could close tomorrow and refinance.
nice.
As long as the house is occupied, I can refinance it the next day.
All right. So I want to first of all thank you before I give you my last question. We're at the top of the hour, and I can't even.
Okay.
I don't even realize we had 60 minutes that just went like this, and
Yep.
it was
And you
only
didn't answer none of
because-
those questions.
No, you did. You really did. And
Them people gonna be mad at you.
Oh,
People gonna be mad at you. They got questions. You didn't answer none of the questions. They're gonna be mad.
We'll get to it.
Just know that it's not my fault. It's not my fault, people.
Earl did it. Earl did it. But here's the question that I always end with for all of our guests, because I just feel like it's important. So we've been speaking to new wholesalers. We've spoken to investors. What I would like for you to do is speak a little bit to the brown and black community around this idea of generational wealth. And so my question is this: can you share the value of property ownership as it relates to people of color being able to start the process? We're 400 years behind, but getting that process started.
Yeah. First of all, let me clear up the myth that everybody is spouting right now. Multiple streams of income. Because they said, oh, most millionaires have at least 7 streams of income. And they do. But guess how they got there? And if you go in the clubhouse and you sit in these millionaire rooms, you just sit in the audience with your mic off and just listen, they all say the same thing. Focus on one thing at a time. So if you're going to wholesale, I know you might want to buy and hold. I know you might want to start flipping. I know you might want to buy banknotes. You might want a lease option. You might want to subject to, you might want to do a whole plethora of different things, but learn how to wholesale and mailing first. Because wholesaling is a skill that's going to give you continuous money. Wholesale is a skill that you can move. So if you decide I'm in California and I want to move to Georgia, you can still wholesale. If you want to go to Texas, you can still wholesale. Oregon, Washington, you could take this skill of wholesaling and go anywhere else. So focus on that one skill and get it perfected. Then move to your second stream of income. So now you have a steady stream of income because your system's in place. Then you can start building a real estate portfolio, a rental property. So you have a steady stream of income, because we know unless you are 40 hours a week into your wholesaling business and you got everything set up and it's automatic and systematic, you're going to be working in that business in order for those deals to close. So then what I tell everybody after that is learn and perfect. You can't be the jack of all trades, bouncing from this idea to this idea to this idea. You have to be, you want to own a house, own a house. But the plan is not to own the house and still have a mortgage. The plan is to own the house. Yes, you might get a mortgage for it, but the plan should be how are we paying this off before these 30 years? Instead of just saying, oh, my mortgage only $500. No, it's $500 times 360. Because that is how many payments you will make. So if your house at 360,000 and you're paying $500 a month, I'll do the quick math with my handy dandy calculator here.
Yeah, you're normally paying for your house three times the actual.
That's right. That's $180,000 house that you bought for $75,000. So you want to try and pay off. If you can pay, just because your mortgage is $500, maybe you could pay $700, and that extra $200 every month goes to the principal. That way you're going to pay off, because the mortgage, the 90% of your monthly payment is the interest, not the principal. You don't start touching your principal, about that much of it goes to your principal. So you don't start touching that until you don't start touching big chunks of that principal until you get to almost year 15 of that mortgage. And that's when it levels out. And the majority of the payment goes toward the principal and less goes towards the interest. But you're paying nothing but interest up front. So the mindset is pay it off. That's why I said be your own bank. Go to your life insurance policy and buy that house and pay that mortgage back to yourself. But that's what people, and I think people should think about. We should learn everything they don't want us to know. And I hate to say it because it's all over the news right now, but think about what these young kids just did with GameStop. These young kids killed the market. They got these hedge fund managers stressed because they borrowed. All they did was take it. It's so simple. I'm in the group that they're in. I'm sitting here watching them. I'm listening to them do it every day. They done already announced the next stock that they're gonna do it to. You know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, we get ready. Well, you should buy this and you should do this and you should do that. But they're not licensed. They don't work for these companies. They're just trying to stick it to the man. And that's what they're doing. So what they did was, these kids, that stock option, it's a stock option. It's where you borrow somebody else's stock to make money off of it. That's what a stock option is, for those who don't know. These kids, the stock option was 3 cents. 3 cents. And you have to buy a contract of 100. So that's $3. Did you hear what I just said? That's only $3. So for $3, then he bought 100 contracts. So he paid $300. And he pulled out $108,500 because the stock went up and he cashed out. Another guy put in $50,000 and he cashed out $17 million. So you got to learn what they don't want you to know. It's not about owning a house. I don't care if you want to rent. If you want to rent a house, that's great. It's not about owning. Everybody's like, oh, own the land, do this and own this. I'm in real estate and I'm all for owning a house. I can't hear you guys. I'm all about owning a house, but you have to learn other areas of wealth. You have to know other areas of wealth, because real estate is not going to make you rich unless you know how to play the game. That's all. So I'm not big on home ownership. Everybody always asks me that. I'm not real big on home ownership because I done moved 50 times. Because I'll sell this house tomorrow if I think I'm gonna get the money I want for it. Because this house, I paid $15,000 for my house through foreclosure, probably 11 years ago. I paid $15,000 for this house. I put $40,000 into it. And my house is worth $175,000 right now. So why would I sell it tomorrow? If I thought my husband would let me sell it, I'd sell it tomorrow.
Right. Well,
and take that money and build some more wealth somewhere else.
But yeah, because and I love how you broke it back to the kids in GameStop because really it's all about there's no one vehicle to get to the bag. The goal
Nope.
is to get to the bag, and once you know when you got the bag, to have the knowledge, to have the education, to know what to do with the bag.
No, no joke. Listen to this. So I just recently started learning stock options. Okay. And I started playing around with it. In the first week that I was playing around with it, I lost probably about $800. I lost $800 because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. The next week, I made $1,500 off of a $40 investment. I literally put $40 in a stock option and it skyrocketed. I didn't know it was going to do that. I thought I just picked the option because it was cheap. I was like, well, it's $40. I don't care. I cashed out $1,500. I got one right now. I'm waiting to cash out on Monday. I put $100 in. It's up to about $440 right now. Take it out and you play with their money. You take your profit back. You take your money that you put in, you put it back in your pocket and you play with their money. They don't like you to do that. It's like the casino. They don't like you playing with their money. They want you to come out your pocket.
Listen, as much as it hurts me, I got to stop the podcast. It's literally, you say one thing and you take me down a rabbit hole where I want to ask 5 or 6 other things. And I respect your time and I respect our audience's time.
It's snowing in Buffalo. We in the middle of a snowstorm, so I ain't got nothing but time today.
It's already done. I would love for you to say yes to coming back to our podcast.
Sure.
Because there's so many unanswered questions as I look, but this was about us and I was selfish. But here's the thing, brothers and sisters, we have resources right in our community. And all you have to do, and this is the beauty of the internet. Anything that you want to know, you are only 1 or 2 clicks away of having access to someone who is an expert in it.
And then I tell everybody, read. See, a lot of things, and this is when you talk about our Black and brown community, because I don't like the word minority because there's more of us than it is of them. Amen. And when you talk about our Black and brown babies, you have to teach them to read. And I'm not saying teach them how to read, teach them to read and comprehend and to make sure they're not just skimming through information. Because when you skim through information, you miss stuff. And a lot of people I've had people miss $1 million opportunities because they didn't read the whole contract. They're not reading, they're missing the important stuff because they're not reading the contract. You have to understand it. And then if you don't like to read, get an audio book and put it on while you're doing something else on your computer, while you playing video games or whatever. Have that book playing in the background because you passively consume that information. And I guarantee you're going to remember it. When somebody asks you about it later, you're gonna be like, where you heard that from? Oh, man, I can't even remember. I think it was this book I was listening to.
Right.
When you driving back and forth to work, pop on a podcast and listen to somebody break some things down to you. People they don't want to learn. They don't want to read. They want quick and easy. You cannot Google search yourself to a bag. It's not going to happen. Even with wholesaling. I get so many people all the time. This girl, I literally just saw a pop-up on my tablet right now. This girl, can I ask you a question? Because she'd rather ask me a question and go try and get the information for herself. And that's what a lot of people will do. A lot of people will say, oh, well, can I ask you a question? Can I pick your brain? Can I do this? Can I do that? And it gets to a point where you be like, yeah, as soon as you pay this invoice. Nobody works for free. My time is just as valuable as your time.
Amen. And,
just think of it. You can't do that. You have to invest in yourself. Everybody needs a coach. Everybody should be investing in themselves. Everybody should read. And I'm telling you, everybody needs to learn real estate. They need to learn how the banking system works, and they need to learn how the stock market work. Because if you think I'm joking? This guy made $50,000. And made 17 million on GameStop. That store, don't nobody even go in GameStop. They're on the verge of bankruptcy. He just made 17. He made more money than the company probably even worth.
Wow.
And he just made 17 million because he's at home studying and reading how to take advantage of these options.
Blessings. Blessings.
You
Wow.
have to invest in education. And I'm not saying, and I might not be the perfect coach because I'm telling you, I'm blunt, extremely blunt when it comes to what you should and shouldn't. And don't ask me a question if you don't want the truth. And I don't always know how to sugarcoat it and poo-poo it and make it fluffy for you. So no, I'm not the coach for everybody. But if you do want to come to my coaching, that's great. I do have a coaching program. And the funny thing is, I charge $47 a month for my coaching program. There's people out here charging thousands of dollars for a coaching program. And people tell me, oh, $47 a month, that's too much. Okay, then I'm not the coach for you. I'm cool because I don't chase my clients either. But I guarantee you, my clients are making money.
Right. Right.
My clients are making money. I have a few clients that you can go and check my tech. You can go and check my record, check my credentials if you don't believe me. But I have multiple clients who made 5-figure first-time deal commissions because they know how to do their numbers. They know where to look for those deals. Even if they JV, that's the quickest way to get some money. JV with somebody else. Everyone says, oh, how can I get started in wholesaling? JV with somebody, but you gotta bring something to the table. You just can't bring your pretty face because that's not gonna feed my family.
Amen. Amen. Well, you have blessed us, and
you have blessed me.
No, listen.
Thank you for having me on.
It was reciprocal, but we got the lion's share of that. So what I want to basically do, look for me to reach out to you in the next 72 hours so we can talk about my integrating into your coaching program, because it is something that I share with our platform. You can bounce your head against the wall and fail forward, or you can invest into education and skip to the front of the line. The latter.
I pay my coach $800 a month. And people, y'all complain about $47. I pay her $800 a month to help me with marketing, to help me with strategy and organization, and how to get myself organized. She don't even teach real estate. She ain't even invested in real estate. She's a business coach because you don't always need, I know the real estate part. I need somebody to help me organize it. So she's my coach. And people are like, oh, you pay her that much money? Listen, and trying to get into her other program where I have to pay her $42,000. She has a program where she works with people one-on-one. Is $40,000. I'm trying to get to that point. Like right now, and I tell everybody, if you guys want to pay attention, I am documenting because I recently dissolved a partnership. So I'm on my own doing rebuilding. So I'm documenting my rebuilding for the next year. So if anybody wants to follow along on that, that'll definitely be on my Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook channels.
Awesome. Drop that one more time for people that may have just joined our program late, how they can follow your journey on social media.
Okay, you can follow my real estate journey as I rebuild from zero. And we're talking no rental properties, no nothing. We're rebuilding from zero. So I'm starting over with wholesaling just to show you how to build up capital. And I'm taking everybody along on my journey. You can reach me. You can follow me along on my Instagram tag, which is TomAppleGeorge.716. You can follow also on the Facebook page, Trinity Alliance Group of Buffalo, Inc. And also on our YouTube channel, tag 716. Or you can just put the real estate diva and it comes up too. Because favorite real estate diva.
I love that, the real estate diva. All right, Ambrose, take us out, brother. Take us out.
Yay, Ambrose.
Mrs. Robertson,
my new friend.
Thanks for being on our show today. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me.
I would love for you to meet my other partner, but he's not here today as well. His name is Kivo. Probably heard about him.
I hear his name. You guys keep saying his name. I'm like, what's that?
Yeah, he's a very, very hard worker as well. So from Real Housing Relief to Mrs. Robertson, We are revitalizing the community one property at a time. I said it right.
One property at a time.
Thank you again. Have a good one.
All right.
Stay safe.
God
You guys
bless
have a good
everybody.
day.
All right, good night.
Bye-bye.